Welcome to the second part of this disciplinary literacy overview. In part 2, we will explore what disciplinary literacy looks like in practice from early level to the senior phase. As in part 1, the purpose of the video is not to provide a comprehensive overview, but instead to outline some suggested strategies for further reflection and exploration with colleagues. So how can we support young people to read, write, and communicate effectively across different subjects? Let's begin with some strategies to support reading. By reading complex texts aloud and thinking aloud before, during, and after reading, we can explain and familiarise learners with vocabulary, text structure, and discourse markers. Reading aloud also allows us to explicitly teach reading of different modes, for example, reading graphics, tables, and charts. We can also familiarise learners with vocabulary through the explicit teaching of morphemes or parts of words which are specific to that subject. Let's have a look at some of these strategies in action. As we read a text, such as the one shown on the slide aloud, we can model the pronunciation of unfamiliar vocabulary, explain how to access information from figures and diagrams, as well as more general strategies such as rereading when meaning breaks down. In this example from a non-fiction text on climate, the reader is expected to access a variety of text types. As well as factual information on climate and solar cookers, the reader is also expected to follow a set of instructions for making a solar cooker. In addition, the reader also has to extract information from the diagram on the Great Ocean Conveyor Belt. In this very typical extract from a non-fiction text, young people are expected to adapt their reading practices to a range of different genres. Here is just one example of how exploring word parts or morphemes within subject-specific vocabulary can extend understanding of many other words within that subject. These are examples of vocabulary that might be explored within RMPS and art and design. Here are some further strategies to support young people to communicate and write within subjects. We can provide opportunities for learners to talk like experts through scaffolded discussion activities. These discussions will in turn support learners when they are asked to write their own texts. Modelling writing, for example, I do one, we do one, you do one, provides another way to explore how texts are organised and features of different text types. Discussion scaffolds, such as those shown on the slide, provide the opportunity for learners to become familiar with vocabulary, discourse markers, and key phrases. These sentence scaffolds and discussion prompts support learners to further expand their thinking, as well as warming up the phrasing and vocabulary associated with a particular discipline.
Let's now move on to consider the role of disciplinary literacy within the primary school. The QR code on this slide links to a useful article by Professor Shanahan on this topic. Shanahan's research found that although the specifics of disciplinary literacy are likely to be most directly relevant to secondary education, firm foundations can be built in primary school. Shanahan makes a number of recommendations in order to prepare primary school pupils for success within disciplinary literacy. He begins by reminding us that disciplinary literacy depends on the acquisition of fundamental literacy skills. Shanahan's research also highlights the importance of developing subject area knowledge at primary level, as prior knowledge is an essential strand in developing reading comprehension. It is also recommended that pupils in primary are exposed to multiple disciplinary texts. The informational text used in primary schools should represent a wide range of text types and purposes. Reading non-fiction poses a double challenge for most pupils. Non-fiction both relies on and develops knowledge. The significance of this paradox is far-reaching. Approximately 98% of words need to be read and understood to comprehend non-fiction, compared with 95% for fiction. As well as reading disciplinary texts, we can also support learners' understanding of different text types by providing opportunities to develop disciplinary writing in context, using experiences from across the curriculum. On this slide are some practical strategies to consider when providing literacy experiences which will help to build those disciplinary literacy foundations. These strategies mirror many of the recommendations from Shanahan's report. Pause the video now to read through these and reflect on where you provide these experiences within your own classroom. Let's have a look at one of the strategies in action. We might teach disciplinary writing related to learning experiences in different curricular areas. In this example, the class might write a scientific report on the effect of exercise on heart rate, following a sequence of PE lessons in which the learners took part in fitness tests. Curriculum for Excellence is a 3 to 18 curriculum, so let's take some time to reflect on the ways in which we can develop the foundations of disciplinary literacy right from the early level. ELC settings in Primary 1 classrooms should provide the opportunity for exploration of a range of texts across a range of different spaces, linking fiction and non-fiction text where possible. For example, you might want to use Lost and Found by Oliver Jeffers and link that to Penguin Chicks by Ruth Owen. We can support children to reflect on their learning and develop an inquiring stance through our questioning and conversations. By linking with children's prior experiences and interests, we can encourage children to ask their own questions and support them in finding the answer. These questions or inquiries can also be shared with families. Pause the video here to read through and reflect on how you provide these experiences within your own setting or classroom. Thank you for watching this overview of disciplinary literacy in practice. This slide includes links to further reading and watching.